graduates, companies are, no matter what industry they're in, I think are looking really for skills, and I try to put them in 3 buckets. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're a business major or a political science major or whatever. Really what we're looking for are problem-solving skills and analytical skills. And how have you applied those in real-world situations? No matter what area you're going to go into, you're going to be challenged with solving problems, whether they're financial problems or retail problems or whatever industry that you're in. The other bucket I would talk about is leadership skills, developing leadership skills, and you have a great opportunity because of St. John St. Ben's institution, the size, to get into leadership type positions, whether it's clubs or organizations or fraternities, sororities, whatever, and building a couple different things of leadership, people leadership skills, where you're leading other people and giving them vision and direction, similar to what managers have to do, and project leadership. That is a key skill used across many different industries. The third bucket is a very broad bucket, just communication skills. Your oral communication skills, your ability to interact with another person, be confident. Along with that, I would also say writing skills. Different industries look for different types of writing skills. And then I would say presentation skills, negotiation skills, all that is in that whole bucket of communication. And coming from a liberal arts education, you have an opportunity to build skills in all of those areas.
Networking in its best, in its most purest form, is engaging with another person and asking them genuine questions about their career, how they got there, their company, and really caring about what they've done with no alternative motive. With simply to have a conversation and focus on simply developing that relationship and developing that connection rather than wanting to get something from it.
And we mentioned that instead of having like that objective statement at the top that, hey, I'm looking for a job at this company because that's what I'm looking for, create maybe a 2-sentence statement that really describes, what you're looking for and why your skills align with what the company is all about. We see a lot of, since we're St. Patterson's primarily a sales organization, the job resumes that stand out to us are ones where, somebody's saying, hey, I'm a dynamic salesperson, I'm a skilled communicator, I build relationships well, and they kind of call out like 3 or 4 key things that as a company we really value. So if you can do that in the first half or first top of your resume, that's really, I think, what's going to grab someone's attention right away and help you stand in the process. It's where you're looking for your first time job. And so there are a lot of companies going into this knowing that they're hiring people without experience. So it is those extra activities that you have that you've done, whether or not you were in a club, whether you were a leader in that club, or maybe you just managed projects, or you were on a sports team and you were leading that team to some capacity. It's really all about how you translate that onto a resume and then actually talk about it in your interview.
Submit the resumes online. Keep doing that. Try and hit the trigger words. If I'm looking for a writer, try and highlight that in your resume so you don't get pushed aside that you didn't meet the minimum requirements. But also then find the people at the General Mills that somebody knows somebody. You can do any Google and try and reach out to them to try and get that information. Let them know I applied for the position. Is there anybody I could talk to internally to kind of highlight my resume?
You talked about being involved in multiple activities and taking tests and writing papers, and that's what university and college life is really all about. I think one of the things that we look at more from an interviewing perspective is when you answer some of those questions that you're going to be asked, a lot of interviewers, or at least the good ones, are looking for examples of how you demonstrated time management skills, how you demonstrated being able to balance different things, or if you're under a deadline or pressure of a test, how do you go through that? How do you manage those things? And so those are great examples that you can provide to an interviewer. Hey, when I was under, I was working and I had a test due and it was finals and all this other stuff. I prioritized and this is how I manage my time, and this will translate into a job because when I'm under a deadline or pressure, I can do the same thing, and that's what a lot of interviewers are really looking for. So use those examples of times that you've worked through challenges, or from your university life, sports, academics, whatever you're doing, or social life even, to give good examples of how you work through those situations. because that's really what those interviews are looking for, is actual examples of how you handle those things, not just, well, you know, I think I would do this, but I actually did it and I succeeded, and here's where I am now.
Suggestion that I said in the earlier panel is everyone should Google their own name, because there's all sorts of things potentially out on the internet, maybe through social media, but it might be through other sources, just so you know what's out there.
But one of the tools that we're starting to use a lot more and a lot of companies do use is LinkedIn, because there's a lot of data out there, and it's not just from a background check standpoint, but it's from a skills-based standpoint. So whatever you put out on LinkedIn is essentially your resume, your living resume that you have out there that organizations can search freely. And that is one of the key ways that we like to use to find talent and to help our managers find talent, because a lot of it is automated. We don't have to touch it, the managers don't have to touch it. They create an open position, and the computer knows that it's going to go look for, you know, a salesperson or a customer service person with certain skills. And if you have those skills highlighted, or what we call keywords, on your profile on LinkedIn, you're going to get targeted for all of our automated job postings. You're going to see, has anyone seen those jobs you might be interested in, emails or a little pop-ups that can end up on your LinkedIn page when you log in? Those are what a lot of companies are using. So as you use LinkedIn, I would recommend that you continuously update your profile, make sure you're using keywords with some of those characteristics that we talked about that kind of set you apart and get you noticed, because those are the tools of today, and I think more and more organizations are using those platforms to target people, whether they're entry-level positions or experienced positions, but you're going to get a lot more job notices if you do some of those things.
Is when you're in a job search, you need to be available as best you can. So return phone calls promptly. Don't wait a day or two. Those are all indications on how interested are you, how on top of it, how, you know, time management, all sorts of red flags go up when you don't return phone calls. And don't be afraid to. It goes back to this networking, talking. This generation does a lot of more texting and emails. The job process is an interpersonal process. It's not an electronic process.